because I notice the wrongs every day. Like I have colleagues that are not feeling good. I have people in my network that like have burnt out since I started to write about burnout. Like when it happened to me, I see daily like companies that are like focusing maybe on technology first, process second, and people last. And I know that it's not the way. And if you sit down and you think and analyze like these kind of things, like whatever you look at, but you see that, oh, this cannot be correct. Usually the answer is quite easy. When I say people first, the answer to that question is so simple. As long as people are using, loving, or hating our products, what should matter to a company most is these people.
Welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast, the show that keeps you in the know with what you need to know in business and technology and for yourself so you can grow. Welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Rob House, and my co-host, Wilton Rogers, got insight for miles and miles. We'll give you what you need to know. Get ready for the Business Empowerment Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast, the show that brings you business, technology, and leadership, and the thought leaders that help bring it to you. And what better way to kick off the very first episode of the Business Empowerment Podcast? We're talking about business, technology, and leadership, where we have a man who knows about business, technology, and leadership. My man, met on LinkedIn, Eduardo Rodriguez. Welcome to the very first episode, brother. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, man.
You're probably responsible for this, man. You're probably responsible for what's getting ready to happen to people around here, because Wilton and I were talking about a podcast for a while. Wilton been ready to do it for like a year and a half, and then you mentioned it to me, and I don't know, when you mentioned it to me, man, it's like the aha moment. It's like the seasons were right. The moon and the stars were lying. I drank just enough water that day, and it sunk in. So thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
I can tell you the reason that I told you.
Go ahead.
I came in for like 2 years ago. I had exited in the past, and then when I came back, it was to share my writings. Like I do my speaking through words mostly, and I always been afraid of the camera, and I don't like my voice. And there's a lot of things that I'm afraid of to do a podcast. But I wanted to do a podcast for so long time. And then when I finally decided to just do it, and I was like thinking of you, and I was like, if somebody should have a podcast on LinkedIn, that's like Rob Halsey, right? You're like the voice. You have it all, man. Like for me, it's amazing watching you speak. Like when you do your thing, it empowers people. Like it empowers me a lot. So for me, it was like a given. I had to tell you that, hey, you need to do it.
Man, brother, that means a lot. And it really is fitting. This is the Empowerment Podcast. You've empowered me. You're telling me I empowered you. And really, this conversation is going to empower people. So on LinkedIn, man, you got human first, digital expert, explorer, writer, and speaker of digital culture, life, work, technology, podcast host, mentor for entrepreneurs and passionate people. That's a lot of good things going on, boy. A mentor for entrepreneurs and passionate people. I love what you're doing, man. Welcome to the show. And why don't you just kind of give us a sound bite of who you are, man, and then tell us why you do what you do, because it goes together, like who you are, and then what you do and why you do what you do. That's kind of like the you sandwich,
I think like what I do is that I try to live my passion, despite of what other people like think of me or not. And that was a hard thing to achieve in my case, because I was bullied a lot when I grew up. A lot of races in Sweden. Like people don't understand how hard it was, and sometimes. And I was usually that kid to pick on. I had this kind of speaking problem when I was very little, and then I couldn't hide because of like my color of skin, right? I was growing up among Swedes. So I was an easy target, you know. So I found one passion that saved me from all this insanity, like of hate, and that was the books. Actually, that was my first passion that I found. And man, I read books. I read books like I started with the children department, and then I started to read like grown-up stuff, and I was just hooked to it. And then like my second revelation and passion in life was when I discovered a Commodore 64. And for me, that was like the sky opened up for a second. You know, I could feel that, like you see in the movie, it's like the holy intervention, like Eduardo, this is your destiny. I saw that computer. And my parents didn't have so much money because they were studying, so I had to like work a whole summer to buy that computer. But when I bought that computer, I was hooked for life. That was like my destiny. And speeding fast forward to university in 1998, when I did my first website, that was like the second time I had this kind of feeling, like of this is my destiny. This is what I meant to do, to build products that the code that I did and the design that I did came to life, and somebody were using that. And for me, I'm like a big art lover. I always like, I thought I was becoming like a painter once, but I'm not good enough to that. But I love the craft of making things. For me, like this is like almost like art when I do something. Like either it's a web application or it's a solution for, I don't know, any person to use in society, right? I work for an insurance company, so we do products for everybody. So for me, it's important to make products that even people with like seeing disabilities can use, or blind people. I really care about the craft, and some of the pioneers in the thought of putting like people in the center when you do product, that was actually Steve Jobs. He's been talking a lot of these things years before, like we even have an expression called user experience. So that is the technical side of Eduardo. I really love the craft that I'm doing. I love the nerd in myself. I love the culture that we have of open source, of sharing. And then the second part of Eduardo is the love for humanity. That I truly believe that we as humans can be united in many fronts. And I usually see that in the workplace, that it's, I work a lot with company culture within the company also. I'm part of the culture embassy, and now I'm also part of the innovation forum. So I have my legs a little everywhere. But how I see, like when people ask me like, what is your title or role? I don't like that question, to be honest, because my answer is very simple. Like, I'm in this company to help out to make the best company ever, no matter what I do. Just put me on something that is needed to be done, and I will do it. And I look at my all my colleagues equally the same, like everybody in the chain. If you want to make a really successful company, even the smallest link is super important. And that is the reason that I truly believe that the way to go to shift from where we are today when it comes to business, like we need to go to what I say is like empowering leadership. Purpose becomes much more important than before, because people need to have a purpose of what they do. Like for many years, people believed that carrot and the stick was the method to motivate people to work, but that is not the fact. People, they need purpose, and they need to have a motivation that is based on autonomy, and that's the opposite of micromanagement. Mastery, to be able to grow in what you do, and also purpose, to believe in what you do. But yeah, I stop there. I would I would talk about
Good.
this topic all day.
We're talking about purpose, and so one of the things about the show, it's hard for people to find themselves and to be empowered, like to turn the light switch on inside, right? Because you can have all the great ideas and initiatives before you, but if you can't find the strength from inside yourself, so like what do you do to keep yourself empowered? Because I see you leading a lot of people, you're putting together a lot of programs, you have a lot of ideas, and you have a lot of domain knowledge in the various areas. So I know you have a wide capacity, but how do you keep yourself empowered to keep going? Because that's super important.
Because I notice the wrongs every day. Like I have colleagues that are not feeling good. I have people in my network that like have burnt out since I started to write about burnout, like when it happened to me. I see daily like companies that are like focusing maybe on technology first, process second, and people last. And I know that it's not the way, And if you sit down and you think and analyze like these kind of things, like whatever you look at, that you see that, oh, this cannot be correct. Usually the answer is quite easy. When I say people first, the answer to that question is so simple. As long as people are using, loving, or hating our products, what should matter to a company most is these people. As long as it's people that put their heart into doing this product for these people, what should matter the most is these people. We are still not replaced by robots and AI making awesome products, actually. It's still people.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see that so logical thing, for me, it's like, why are not more companies or people understanding this? Like when they talk to me about digital transformation or whatever expression they use, and for me, it's very simple. Like we're going in a paradigm shift of business and work. Through COVID, actually, has started. It has catapulted this the kind of change where we can work everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see that, okay, people will work from home. How do we solve culture? How do we solve? And this is a fact. When people are experiencing this problem together, they bond more actually. And this is what happened in many companies that not so many are talking about. We felt aligned in this turbulent times that were experienced.
Yeah.
And in these moments, if you truly understand the spirit of what I'm saying, is in this moment that you can form a culture that is like amazing, and you can go beyond anything once you're done. And the thing with culture, why that is so important, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, to pay people or whatever. If people do not believe, you will not grow. Like you will grow to a certain amount, but you will not go beyond good to great. You can't go to amazing.
Yeah.
To go to
Yeah.
amazing, everybody must have that feeling in the company, because
Mm-hmm.
it will materialize in the product that you do. It will materialize in the relations you create as a company towards society and others.
And Wilton and I were just talking about this, man, yesterday, and we were actually
Mhm.
thankful that we were starting a company with such little amount of people, so that we could actually implement the right systems and culture in now. So
Create
as
the
we begin to
culture.
see right,
Create
so
that
that's so important.
culture.
That's
Yeah.
it, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you're talking about, bro.
We're talking about it exactly. So yeah, man.
You're a really good example of what I'm talking about, because when you told me about what you were doing, and when you I will just turn off here. When you called to a meeting that, okay, Eduardo, could you join? And then you had all the people there, right? I instantly felt that thing, that it doesn't matter what you write in your business plan, or like you can have all the fancy website that you want, but if you don't have that spirit and the heart, like if you have it with 6 people, you can move mountains. If you
Mhm.
don't have it with 1,000 people, you will probably not even climb a hill.
Hmm.
So
Right.
it's so underrated, and it's so powerful. I wish more people like do it as you are doing it. Actually, for me, it was I thought Dimitri told he had joined you, and when he said that with this thing, like this pride in his heart. I'm here, with Rob, with Wilton,
Mhm.
with like Sydney, with everybody, and I could see that in him. And you put that with Dimitri by taking him being part of this great journey that you're embarking on, by giving him part of the heart. He becomes part of the heart, and that is for me the ultimate company culture. When people
Yeah,
can feel that.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Hey, look, man, we're going to come into a landing for our first part of the episode one. But before we leave, I want you to close out with this one answer. I think will give people some tremendous insight. I want you to think about all the years you've been in business, all the years you've been in business and doing business and watching business. to this point right now, what would be your number one business tip?
Number one,
Number one business tip, your number one piece of business advice. If you could just give me one, and I'm like, I come to you, I need one. You can just give me one. What would that be?
I think that's a really hard one, but maybe I would say trust each other.
Hmm.
Have trust in, because when you have trust in your colleagues, you will have less company politics.
Hmm.
You will have more unity, and it's easier to get positivity if you have unity.
Hmm.
Because if you have positivity, it's much easier to solve big problems or any problem actually.
So right.
Because in a positive mind, your brain is more adapted to see things clearly than in a
Mm-hmm.
negative mind. So I would say trust. Have trust in each other, start to get to learn each other. So again, it's about people.
It's about people, man.
Well
And
said.
that's trust, man. Trust builds unity, and unity is in the word community. And that's what you want in your culture. Eduardo Rodriguez, part one, part two's coming up, baby. 30 days to automate. In 30 days, you will automate a process from end to end. Two, you'll learn how to identify automation opportunities within your company. Three, you'll save money by automating a process that was done manually. And four, you will create time for employees to showcase their true talents and skills on more value added projects. And you'll do all this for free. Just go to scalethroughautomation.com/free and we'll show you how to get it done in 30 days. 30 days to automate. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast. We're here with Eduardo Rodriguez. I was gonna try it, man, but I didn't want to butcher it like this. I was gonna try that middle name. Dang it, I was gonna try it, Eduardo.
Say it
Ivacache.
again. Say it again. Eduardo said it for us again.
Eduardo
Okay,
Ivacache Rodriguez.
Eduardo Ibacache Rodriguez. That's
Come
a
on.
hard one. That's why people
Don't tell
usually
yourself
just
you
say
can't do it.
Rodriguez. It's
Don't tell
much
yourself you
easier.
can't do it. You can do anything. Eduardo
Yeah, you
Ivacache
can do anything.
Rodriguez. Okay? Welcome to the show, brother. Welcome to part two. Man, I'm glad to have you here because you've been inspiring some folks on LinkedIn, man. That's how I found you. You know, LinkedIn has been a great freaking place. I met Wilton there. I met just about everybody that really matters, you know, significantly to me right now on LinkedIn, man. So
Mm-hmm.
let's open the episode up with you giving, you know, tell us what the best business decision you've ever made was. I want to know what this is, but then you're going to actually say what the worst one is, what the worst one was. So you got two things. What was the best? And what was the worst? So this helps give people kind of a contrast.
I think it was the best thing I have done is try to trust my gut instinct. Usually, I can feel when it's the wrong recruitment or it's the wrong partnership or it's the wrong persons. In most cases, you can feel it. And what I felt, what happened when I didn't do it is that I have burnt myself quite badly, with the people that I have selected to start a mission with or I have recruited. It turned out really bad, and the reason I analyzed, like, the reason why did I do that, like, why did I not go with my gut feeling? And it was something so simple. It was like greed, like money. Yeah. I wanted to succeed so much with what I was doing, like, that I took that more than, oh, okay, we will earn more money in this deal or whatever, even if I knew that it was the wrong people. And that's something that I'm becoming more and more like picky with these kind of things, like the people I do things with. If I don't feel that they share my values, like if they don't have humanity in them, if they have the opposite of humanity, that will be a really bad match. That we will
Yeah.
confront each other sooner or later. So I think it's really important to trust your gut feeling, but there is also false gold. There are people that can make you really believe that they are the right thing, but they're not. So it's very important to check credentials, to follow up, like see what like who they really are. You know?
Credentials are
So
huge because a lot of
before I
people
didn't believe in this like test, like personality test, but now I truly believe that they can be really good to select
yeah,
out that false gold.
that's
And you
true.
know what? You know what's so interesting about that is that you nailed everything on the head, man. But I think even with experience, even with false gold, you know, you have that one that sneaks by,
Yeah,
and but because they're so good, that experience allows you to, even though it kind of cost you quite a bit of time, whatever, investment, let me say that, right? Um, it allows you now to be able to identify these things coming at you a lot quicker because not only were you prepared for it and set it up, but you actually experienced it, so you can see it coming up. You can see by the swagger what's coming with what to look for. So
Yeah,
well said.
yeah.
so the worst mistake I did is that I let a false gold into my life, you know, and that was devastating. You know, it was devastating to my mental health, to my business, to everything, you know, because that false gold they can destroy your company. It's people don't understand, like it's serious
In
thing.
your
To get,
life.
They said one.
yeah, to
They said
get.
one bad.
I call them sharks nowadays. You know that
Ooh,
that's my expression. You know,
what do you
I
call
Mhm.
them?
say sharks,
Yep.
like shark, you know,
Hmm.
the, from the movie Shark.
Yep.
Because what they do is that they grab your hand, right? And when you remove your hand, you're missing like 4 fingers, but you don't notice, you know? Until they have taken your whole like arm or something. Then you
Mhm.
wake up, you know. And but then it's too late, you know. You can't do anything about it. You know?
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's the biggest mistake that I
check
did was to
credentials too
let.
big. So a way to help avoid that would be to check credentials because people come and they put on one face and a lot of times another face shows up. There's a lot of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hydes, depending on what emotional roller coaster they're on. So it really depends. I think what you're saying is good. If you're consistently building the right culture, you will be also attracting the right people because life has an algorithm, just like the internet, and so again, you still get those folks that slide by, but I think if you have the right culture around, those kind of people can be detected a little quicker. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, you know,
I will be honest about this is a true fact. I have recruited maybe 100 people in my life directly or indirectly. Indirectly mean I have just been assisting or I have given thought about somebody. I never in my life looked at their grades or what school they went to. Never. The only thing I look at is who they are, you know, like what do they stand for? Like what is their passion? That's my main point. That is their passion. They don't need to be the most experienced like engineer or designer. I want the most passionate one, you know, because it's the passionate one that will create awesomeness. And I expect from myself awesomeness. I expect everybody that works with me awesomeness without burning out. That's very important for me, without burning out, because it's not fun thing to do. You know.
yeah,
So the only way to do that is that you must hire by your values that you have in the company. That is your Bible, and that was many companies don't understand. Like the power of having really strong values is you can use them actually to select out the diamonds into your company, and you can remove the false gold and the things that you don't want, you know, by that. And like I can have any person working with me, like for me, like disabilities. I have a lot of disability. I have like dysgraphia. You can name it, and I have it. You know? It doesn't say anything about it. That should not even be a question, according to me, in a work interview, because we are humans. We have that.
yeah.
So I could hire anybody, but I would never in my life hire a skilled uh, a-hole. I don't want to say the word. A skilled jerk. That's the
Uh-huh.
word thing I know. That's for me. That's a no
But
in my
man,
world. Like they
jerk.
don't. They don't enter. I don't care if you're the smartest, most intelligent
Oh,
person in the world. you don't work with me.
Right.
If you can't treat people good, that's so
Come on,
simple.
that's the most important thing. They said there's this slogan or this phrase. It says, "One monkey doesn't stop a show. One monkey can't stop a show." But that's not true, because if the monkey takes the bus steering wheel and takes the bus off the road, now you off the cliff. There's the monkey. There's the show off the cliff. So you got to be very careful of the people that you allow into your circle and close to you. You got to stay awake. I think you just got to stay awake, because people, they are who they are. But as long as you are awake and aware, I think you can help guide the bus and keep it on the road.
And when you build it, and if I'm going to use this as an example, we've had some sharks. We've had those bite our arms off, right? Either slow us down or
Fingers.
just little bumps in the roads, right? Yeah, little fingers. And but allow me to find someone like Rob, right? And then Rob, to us together, start finding sharks together, and start weeding those out. And now we have a team that we trust, that we can trust in each other. So even when a shark does try to come in, and it's a red flag for one person, we as a team know that we trust each other enough to look at their concern. You know what I mean? Because we don't want it to enter what we've already created. Yep. So the more people you have in that circle of trust, allows that penetration to be impossible.
When I started to gain like momentum, or you can say like credit on the market, right? Or in the field as an expert, I got this thing, that I wanted to confront the sharks. Like, I don't care like which position you have in a company. If you step on the values that we have agreed on, right? These is the values we have agreed on. And you step on these values, I will let you know. It's like I will not like rush you or anything, but I will have a talk with you and tell you that this is not okay. We didn't agree on this, and the reason I do that is very simple: is that as I see it, it's not that you're privileged to work with me when I hire somebody. It's the opposite. Somebody is willing to give me like time of their life. Like, you can buy a lot of things. Some people say you can buy love, right? But you can't buy time, and real love you can't buy either. But time is not like viable. Even if you pay people, you can't take that time back. Like, you mistreated me, give me back that time. You can't. So I see this as an opposite thing. I see that I'm so lucky that all these skilled people, they want to work with me. So it's my obligation. It's my obligation as a leader or like a co-worker or whatever, to make this safe environment for them, this empowering environment where they will grow and they know that Eduardo has our back. Anything happens, Eduardo will be there and I will be there for real. Like, it doesn't matter what time or date or hour, because it's our obligation as leaders, to create that environment for them. So what I do with sharks now is that I use the matrix method. I do like this, So I will just let them pass by.
Right, that's it. Even over your head.
Because I realized you have nothing to gain in having interaction with the sharks. It doesn't matter. You can confront them. They will still not realize. It doesn't matter if you show them the fact in the face. They will not understand that they are wrong. If they are true sharks, they will not. So I just
absolutely 100% right.
Yeah.
We've had experience of that like not too long ago. So, and to this day they still anyway. What's another discussion?
It's interesting though. I love sharks.
Absolutely.
We
need them.
Yeah, I need them because they wake you up a little bit, kind of like 2020 did to everybody.
Keep you sharp.
Kind of woke you up like, whoa. Sometimes it's the adversity, Eduardo. It's the adversity that wakes you up. Like,
business is hard. This is the fact. Business is hard. Like, it's not like this thing that everything is just, like, it's not like the Care Bears. Like, it didn't ever. Right. So you need sharks also sometimes, but you need them on your side. But make sure they don't bite anybody besides you. You need to have them on the leash. Like, go and bite over there. Yeah. Don't bite him or her. Like, bite there. Then
We're gonna take
there's
teeth out of your mouth.
everybody has a place in a company, you know, and if
Yeah.
you need to have somebody that is more like on, just make sure that like inside here there's a safe haven, you know,
Yeah, that's
because
it.
you don't need to bite people to for them to understand the seriousness of what we're doing, right? What I use is that I use like empowering leadership. So when people misbehave, I do it, but I do it in a positive way, you know, that I tell them that, hey, you know, this product is very important for our users. Like we can't be joking around, you know, and if you for some reason didn't do what you needed to do, and I know that you could do it, like I need to know why, you know, like are you really happy here, or maybe you don't want to be here, or is there a problem I could solve for you, you know?
That's good. That's good.
Usually there's a reason when people don't do as you expect in a negative way. There's always a reason. So
There's always a
my
reason.
thing is talk to people, talk to people.
So,
Open your mouth. Communication. Communication does
Yeah,
amazing.
communication, that's the key.
What would you say your number one skill is? What would you say like your number one skill if you could identify what that one is? What would you say?
I think it's unite people
Yeah, that's a good one.
mm-hmm.
I
It's a real
vouch for
good
that.
one.
and make people believe also that. But usually I talk about things that usually people, they see it. You know how I feel in most cases? I feel like the story with the king that is naked and that little child said, oh, he's naked. And when I say like people first process, second technology, third, most people are thinking it, but nobody's saying it, you know, because they are so stuck on the process or in the technology stuff that they don't
Right.
lift the eyes up above, but they see it from the corner.
Yeah.
So I'm usually the guy that takes up the corner side and I put it in the middle and I say, hey, come on, we need to do something. We need to improve. We need to, and it's hard to debate when everybody's actually agreeing, but they're just not saying it, right? So I'm not saying that I have right in everything I do or I say, but I'm very good at lifting up that things that are needed to be done. And I'm good in making it into something, either if it's a project or we just write an article, but I make things happen. That's my like top skill is making things happen, I think.
That's true. I agree, man.
Very
That's good
true.
right there. That's
That's
good.
exactly how we linked up. Yes.
Yeah, I
You've
know.
connected, you've connected with some great people too.
And well, you got a couple groups right now. Well, what is name some of the groups that you currently? You got a couple projects. I know you have your podcast coming up, but name some of the groups that you've established and that are currently, you know.
Okay, actually, I only have one thing as I see it. I'm on a mission to humanize leadership and the workplace. That's what I'm doing, but I'm doing it from different angles. One is that I'm writing two books. It was actually one, but it became two because I started to write so much about how I view companies that it became its own book. So I started with Way of the Passionate, and that's my journey through life, like surviving races to burnout to everything, and how I became, how I healed and became a positive person to life, despite of all these things bad that happened to me. So
Mm.
that's the thing of Way of the Passionate. And I talk a lot about the science behind, like why are people so negative and how can we change that into positivity and how can we change the mindset, stuff like that, well-being, mindfulness, all of that.
That's
And
awesome.
then the second book is called The Digital Culture, and that is how to build amazing companies putting people first within the digital sector. So that's the thing I were talking about before, like empowering leadership, like how
Yeah.
do you build company culture. So by this work, I started actually two groups, and one was the leader support group, that is a network to aid and create awareness regarding well-being at work. So we're like now in the group we have like 10 or something people from all the world, like really good experts within everything from organization psychology to therapists to people in general that understand what is happening and what we need to do, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have an ambition now to do some writings together and to do an event. That is what we're doing there.
That's good.
And then Los Digitales is empowering Hispanic leader group, you can say, that is formed by leaders because we didn't find a good empowering network on LinkedIn for Hispanics. So we decided to start one, and we announced our first event like 1 week ago, and we have already like 450 registered potential attendees. So that's quite fun, right?
In the purple world,
And
right?
yeah, in Purple World with ITZY, that's amazing. We really love the work that ITZY and Purple Virtual are doing. We're big supporters. And yeah, like it's a leader network for leaders. And what we do is that we practice empowering leadership. It means that we, the founders, you could say, the people that started the group, we will not even speak at the first event because we're there to for the network, so others will speak, and that's quite cool. Juan came up with that idea, and I love that because, and now this is the thing that when you start networks or whatever you start, when you recruit people, that is what I did. I recruited people by the values that I wanted to have. This came by itself. So Juan, I didn't even have to mention, Juan came up with this idea, and he has taken the event all the way. I haven't done anything. I just supported him. I done some design work for the project, but he's taking it all the way, because he has the flag, and that's what a leader network should be about, people that can achieve.
Exactly, man. That's amazing. Eduardo, man, final words of empowerment, man. What's your final words of empowerment for the people?
It's still the same, like I would say, like, stop thinking like roles, stop thinking like for me it's like there's only one humanity and there's only one human race. Like, we're all in this together. That is how I believe that. It's not like this kind of people maybe think, oh, this is some new age stuff. No, it's not that. I'm just saying the fact, that if people are going to work for a company like all their life, it's so much time of your life. So if not everybody can come along to the term that let's make this an amazing journey for everybody,
Right.
like, what are we doing? That is how I see it. For me, it's so logical. Like, I can't even debate it.
Yeah, I like that, man. That's wonderful.
That's the way to end it.
What's the best place for folks to catch up with you? Like, where are you hanging out the most? Where would you like for people to contact you, find you, man?
Now I have widened my horizon. So now I'm on YouTube. No, but I have opened more like information channels, not communication channels. I only have one. That is LinkedIn. That's my main one. I will always have that one.
Yeah.
I have a
So
Facebook,
if they go to LinkedIn, you can guide them to all the different channels and all the different networks and everything you have internally. So the one thing that you can do is that you get a response from you on LinkedIn, right?
Usually that's the easiest, but sometimes the problem I have now that every time I have done like an event, now I was in 2 events, that was last week. So I get like a huge amount of people like sending messages. So I don't have time to follow up. And I think that one should do it, but I also have 2 children, 3 and 5. I have a partner that demands some time. I have a full-time work, and I have my studio to play with. So I try to do my best, but what I'm going to implement now is that I'm implementing this kind of routine where I have these fixed hours per week where I only like connect and respond to people.
Man, that's awesome.
Send us that information.
That it works.
Send us that information so we can make sure to put it out there. If you have some set hours and they're available, so yeah, we'll definitely.
Yeah, like what I want to say is that if people message me, if I don't answer in a week, it's not about disrespect. It's not about nothing like that. I truly value that people contact me and I want to answer immediately, but sometimes I have too much. So it's a little hard to answer directly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, man. We appreciate you being on the Business Empowerment Podcast, being our first
one
official. Yes, this is like
Thank
Genesis.
you.
according to the Bible, this would be like Adam and Eve kind of thing. You know, it's the first. First to seed in the ground.
And thank you. Hey, you know what? Eduardo, I've been talking about this, guys. Like, come on, let's get it done. So thank you for putting the fire. I had the sticks, you had the light. So thank you.
Can I have one final goodbye?
Absolutely.
Okay, I have only one wish. If I had one wish in the world, that would be that we need to humanize the workplace and we need to remove stigma. Because regarding either if people have ADHD, bipolar, Asperger, or whatever they're like suffering with, in life in general, we're just humans. There are no supermen, there are no superwomen, there are only humans. So if leaders can't be human, how will the project manager in the brink of burnout ask for help if the role model is a superman or superwoman? So we need to humanize. That's what I'm saying.
I love that. And if our listeners understand it and you say, I want to do that, but yeah, you're trying to figure out how I can do that, Eduardo's the man you need to contact. So we're going to leave that information for you. That way you know. But man, it's been an amazing first episode. Yeah, it's always an honor and grateful to have you on, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, gentlemen. That's a fun.
I appreciate you guys.
Until next time.
All right.
Welcome to the Business Empowerment Podcast, the show that keeps you in the know with what you need to know in business and technology and for yourself so you can grow. Welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Rob House, and my co-host, Wilton Rogers, got insight for miles and miles. We'll give you what you need to know. Get ready for the Business Empowerment Podcast.